Betting on sports can be hard, but hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/bestbets or dial #law, #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/bestbets. This is a paid advertisement.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board as we are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino in this hour. In 15 minutes, we will go over the board that we have tonight, the games on it, the NBA Cup finale. We have one of the best teams at covering spreads in action in college basketball, and a bowl game to bet on as well. Derek Stevens, owner, CEO, expected to be on the program at the bottom of the hour as well. So we do have, I think, Pauly, some juicy numbers up at DraftKings to bet on Super Bowl exactas. And again, this is just the matchup, right? This is basically a two-team parlay. It's which team's going to win the AFC along with which team's going to win the NFC and meet in the Super Bowl. It's not picking the Bills over the lines, anything like that, just to get there. The short shot on the board remains Buffalo and Detroit, and it's right there with Buffalo and Philadelphia. I want to look a little bit down the board, though.
Yep.
Right? Because you have to draw a line through some teams. You can't make a case for all these teams to make the Super Bowl. And the closer we get, I want to see if you agree with this now. I'm going to draw a line through the Steelers.
Wow.
You're not going to?
Interesting. No.
I'm going to draw a line through the Texans, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Commanders, and the Buccaneers.
Ooh.
They're tough.
Yeah.
But can they come out of the NFC? This is just for this segment only, looking for teams I'd like to bet on to make it. I think Tampa Bay is going to be a threat in the NFC. And they have some huge numbers if they were to make the Super Bowl.
How about that matchup? You're probably going to play, you could play Minnesota or Green Bay right off the bat.
I know. I am not drawing a line through Minnesota. There's no way. Right. Be my guest. That team's awesome. And
I think we've moved past the Darnold meltdown. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's going to happen. But also, I'm in a different. I bring a different angle to this conversation because I'm from there, and they blow it every January. Never won a big game in the history of the organization.
That's fair.
So that's the other angle. And this gives you the same way. Now they've done it with Kelly. But we know what happens to the Bills. They can get there, but again, the Bills never won a big game. And it's like, oh, wow, I can't believe it. The Bills came up short in a big game in January. Yep. They're saying the same thing every year in Buffalo and Minnesota.
Now, this is not going to be easy, but all these teams that we're talking about that have coaching openings, and they're going to need help at quarterback. We talked about the Raiders earlier. They need to identify the next KOC. This guy's awesome. Mm-hmm. He's a wizard so far. Last year was brilliant. This year could very easily win coach. I thought he deserved it last year. Regardless,
he wins the next two games. Is there anything that can happen that he doesn't get the award, even if he doesn't win the division? He's going to win 14 games with Sam Darnold then.
Well, if Campbell wins the division, though, still over him with all these injuries.
You think he'll jump him?
He was just minus 150.
God.
I still want to know what's going to happen with Andy Reid if they're 16-1.
That's another one.
I don't know. Nobody's going to get credit on this team for going 16-1 if that happens. Mahomes has no chance to win the MVP. Nobody's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Well said.
You can't even put a guy on the board to win Offensive Player of the Year. Right. So, where's the credit coming from then? They're going to wake up out of bed, slip, and then end up 16-1. It doesn't happen that easy.
More of the credit should be going to the coordinators in Detroit as opposed to the head coach, who still could be a liability in a big game, being reckless.
Yeah.
Although I like him.
So if you want to tie in and betting, multiple teams, again, to focus on, eliminating the Chiefs on the list too?
No, I can't do that.
Can't do that?
No. I think you got to focus on Baltimore and Philly. And I think you'd have to take out, based on history, Buffalo.
Oh, you take out Buffalo?
That's where I'm at. Still, can you get a stop? Can you get a stop against Lamar Jackson or Mahomes when you need it in the fourth quarter? This has been ugly the last couple of weeks. That's why I think you have to draw a line through Detroit. I mean, Sunday will be a good test, and then go into San Francisco. It's just you can't stop anything, and I don't blame you, though, because you got 14, 15 guys on IR.
Sure. Well, you're really, I mean, with the list that you're down to now, you're really going to be able to find some juicy numbers there.
I think that there's a March Madness potential here. We haven't had chaos in a long time. When we started on this network, the first couple of years, we always would do, around this time, in about a month, we would do the second round stink bomb. Every year, someone off the bye, back when we had two buys, someone would bleep the bed and lose as a big favorite every single year. Mm-hmm. So we haven't had this, the Giants, 9-7, come out of nowhere. Arizona with Kurt Warner. We haven't had that in a while. And I think we're due for chaos, and I think this is the year. Not that it would be nuts if Green Bay made the Super Bowl or something like that, but I just think there's some great teams in the NFC, and seeds really don't matter.
Well, here you go. This is juicy, is it not? Baltimore to make it. You could do both these tied up, right? If you're going to, again, draw a line through a bunch of teams, because you can't bet all of them. And if you're very strong on at least one team like you are with Baltimore just to play Minnesota is 30-1. Baltimore just to play Green Bay is also 30-1.
Gee, that's pretty good.
I would say so.
Yeah, and I love Flores too.
Oh, Flores is the man.
And Minnesota's defense is just taking it up another notch.
I think the KOC Flores combo is the best thing going in the entire league.
Right.
And if they could lock both those guys into like 10-year contracts, do whatever you can.
Right. And see, I could be wrong on this. I don't think Detroit wins a division. I think they're going to lose one of these road games coming up.
Okay.
And then
they're only 2.5 or 3 at San Francisco.
I know.
Paul, how do they overcome the defensive injuries?
You can't do it. It's just, you can't do it.
All right, let's go down the list a little bit more. Do you agree that both Broncos and Chargers have to be off?
Yeah.
Is there any way the offense for the Texans could get it together?
No. The season's almost over. It's not happening.
It's been the whole time.
Stroud had 130 yards passing. They couldn't run the ball against Miami. It's over.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, again, I think that's a Super Bowl caliber defense. But, man, the offense, it's leaving so much to be desired. And the Texans have some massive numbers on the board just because of who's in front of them in the AFC.
And a good chance they'll play the Steelers or Ravens in the first round. And that won't go well.
No, probably not. Like Texans, Eagles, 45-1 just to play. But I again, I can't get there. Should we include the Rams? Is McVay good enough to do this? Can the young players on defense just step up for the next month and play out of their minds?
It's kind of like Detroit, though. You'd have to be perfect offensively, which we saw Stafford do against the Bills. But you're going to have to be so good offensively. And he's prone to turn it over.
Yeah.
And I think that one year, the stars aligned the year he won it. I don't think they were that good. But that's just how it broke, and they were a 4 seed, but they were able to host the NFC title game.
You can get Rams-Ravens at like 90-1.
But we also saw, you're right, they are hard to get a read on. They didn't belong on the same field as Philly. Philly ran them out on the second half.
Yeah.
That was ugly, that Sunday night game. Did come back and beat the Vikings, though, earlier. They're a Jekyll and Hyde team.
And then they
almost lost to the Patriots. I mean,
look at back-to-back weeks. Played and outscored Josh Allen when he had the most fantasy points in the history of fantasy, and they scored in the 40s in that game. Come back the next week, no touchdown scored. They won against a Niners team that had to have the game, 12-6. But Rams-Ravens, 90. I'm not going to get crazy with Washington or Atlanta, but I will tell you that if you're listening to this right now and saying you guys are a bunch of idiots, you got to include a team like Pittsburgh or the Chargers, then be my guest, because you can find like Pittsburgh against any of these teams. Pittsburgh against the Vikings and the Packers, that's 90-1. And I think Packers and the Vikings are absolutely live to come out of the NFC.
All right, show your work. Why are you anti-Pittsburgh? Good defense. You're going to get Pickens back, and I think it's going to look different offensively.
I don't trust.
Is it anti-Russ?
There's a little bit of that. I think, obviously, if Pickens is not going to be healthy, what does he mean to the offense overall? The deep ball has completely dissipated when he hasn't been out there the last couple of games. Defense might be a little bit overrated, and I just think the gauntlet that they would have to go through because I think Baltimore's better. I think Buffalo is clearly better. I think the Chiefs are better. I don't think Pittsburgh's much better than a team like Houston, to be honest. So they're just completely up against it. Tomlin's awesome. I just don't think this version of the team can come out of the AFC.
And Harbaugh has a ring, but it's been ugly going back here. And it goes back to Lamar Jackson, do something in January. But I love this Ravens team and this offense. And I think you're going to see something big on Saturday. And then they win the division, and then it really gets wild. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the team that has the best chance to go into Kansas City, as they already should have beat them. And like likely said, okay, that was our D- game, and we had a chance to beat you.
Right.
So they're a confident group.
Paul, I look at multiple sets of power ratings every single week. And there was a stretch of time this year, even when the record would not tell you, throw out the record, who cares? That when the Lions were playing their A game and blowing teams out, others were, playing at a super high level. Some power ratings had Baltimore as the best team just because they put so much stock into that offense. And again, when you look at like DVOA, advanced metrics, it was through, I think, 7 weeks, they were one of the best offenses of all time. And through 12 weeks, they were right there. And they slipped a little bit, but they were still one of the best offenses through 12 weeks in the history of the sport. And for, the power ratings that put so much stock into offenses as they probably should, that means a lot. And it's going to tell you that no matter who they play, they're not going to be a big underdog, even if they're on the road.
Hold on to this, revisit in a month, see what happens. I have a feeling a big ticket's going to cash. But trying to pin it down and find it, good luck, especially in the NFC. Who knows? Maybe it's chalk again.
Well, like I said, you have the ultimate formula, though. If you're that strong on drawing a line through Buffalo and Detroit, that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the way to attack it, because you're going to have to stop somebody. And Kansas City's got a good defense, and Pittsburgh has a good defense, and the Vikings have a good defense. Philly's got a nasty defense.
Yeah, Sign up. The problem with Philly is you're not going to find any good numbers.
Oh, that's true. I know. That's right. Yep. Sign up for a holiday special. Get VSiN Pro access. Everything we do through May 1st. $79. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. The dog videos and the college football playoff guide. Picks, props from everyone. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now. Excellent job today. As always, all the stuff that's on the website. Cohen on the NBA Cup. Adam Burke on the bowl game. Mackin on the NFL.
Yeah, more on that bowl game and the NBA Cup finale coming up. And one of the best teams at covering spreads is in action tonight in college basketball. Find out who next on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, so here's what we have going on tonight. Games on the board. It's actually a loaded hockey slate. A ton of games there. A bunch of top 25 teams are in action in college basketball. You have a bowl game and the NBA Cup finale, which, by the way, in the last hour, we learned that Chris Middleton, due to an illness, is doubtful for the game tonight. That's no good for the Bucks. And the Thunder keep taking money. Up to 6.
Is it just him? Where did he go?
Oh,
well, that's weird.
Hold on. That's the only one that I'm seeing as of right now. So it's weird that it's not contagious, you mean?
So if they all went out, yeah. Maybe just if it's food poisoning. Number 2, if it's just him, if it's flu or food poisoning. We already had someone cancel today with food poisoning, but you wonder if he's sick, if he's the only one. In any event,
have you had it before?
Food poisoning? No, it's no fun. It's horrific.
I would not wish it upon my worst enemy.
Yeah, right. So here's why I like the under. And I don't agree with the move. 213.5 up to 216. So no Middleton now. And every single NBA Cup game in Las Vegas has gone under. Good write-up today from Zach Cohen, VSiN.com. I have the number 1 defense in the league in OKC. Got the number 1 defense in guarding the 3. Hello, Lillard. And I have a Milwaukee team that's hot. They've won 10 of 12, but by doing so, it's more half-court offense, and our transition D is horrific. So let's try to slow things down, right? And they actually have some pretty good numbers now defensively. Remember, that was the problem last year. So they're feeling good about themselves. They've turned it around, and you're going against what I think is the best team in the league here when healthy with OKC and a deep roster. And also, there's a lot on the line here to be the champ, but also the money. So I know I had to go for a walk when I read this today, that Lillard, Middleton, Lopez, SGA make more than $440,000 a game. But it's a big deal for these other guys and the young guys, and that's what the veterans are talking about, and that's what LeBron said last year. And Giannis said it'd be big for them too. But the winner's walking around with like $308,000 here.
Yeah.
So imagine for a role player, bench guy, young player, what it means. So I also think that leads to defense and more of a playoff atmosphere and how great OKC has been. Now, OKC's been burying people, and I got the number 1 defense in the league. So based in with that and the Las Vegas angle, under 216, the G-Bank best bet of the day. If you're serious about sports betting, you need the G-Bank Visa Signature Card. Most credit cards treat sports books and gaming transactions as cash advances, even when you put your own money on your card. G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're typically saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees right there. For a limited time, get a $250 bonus after you spend $1,000 in the first 90 days. VSiN.com/G-Bank, subject to credit approval. VSiN.com/G-Bank.
I will ask you this as a follow-up. What about the angle here? Fouls late in the game, teams chasing big time, not wanting to lose the game. That money means something to them. They don't want the game to end.
I still think it's NBA. Gentleman's agreement. We know it's okay. If it's a seven or higher, that's it. Go home. Call it.
Okay, so Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his points prop tonight. I mean, it's up there. Some books have it at 32.5. DraftKings right now, they have it at 31.5. At 31.5, SGA is 15-10 to the under on that for the season. However, the Bucks defensive unit that they have and guards to throw at SGA, where are the stops coming from? Are they going to put Gary Trent on SGA so he just goes scorched earth and has 27 at halftime? I don't think they have a guy that can slow this guy down on defense. So I'm not betting it. But when you look at the NBA, this is on vsin.com. When you go to the NBA prop bet analyzer under tools, right on the front page of the website, and you see that SGA is 15-10 under that number, I just think it's a nightmare matchup for Milwaukee. So, and he's been so good. That game against Dallas, he was the absolute man, and he had 39 in that game. And you said this earlier, Tim Bontemps, ESPN, puts out a straw poll for the MVP. You think, what, are you picking up, hearing something on the grapevine here? He might be the guy?
Yeah. It sounds like he's going to be the leader or right there. So I could take. Now, he's minus 180 to win NBA Cup MVP. Giannis is plus 240. Lillard's plus 850.
Well, Bucks have to win the game.
I would think that's. Forget that and just take the plus 185 then. Could he win it on if they lose and he puts up 40?
SGA?
Is that even? I don't know.
No, because the other guys have been so good for the Bucks.
All right, but that's available right now too. Also, the prop analyzer Trent 7-0 under run was props, 6-1 under run with 3-pointers, and then the Giannis angle too. What's he made? 3 the whole year or something? 4? I mean, he's hit like. When's the last time he hit more than a 3 or a 1-3? I was going back and look at the game log. He's on like a 21-1 run.
Yeah, officially on the season, it's 20-3 under half a 3-pointer made.
Okay.
And if you want to bet him to make 1-3 tonight, it's plus 270 right now at DK. The last time he hit a 3 was November 23rd against Charlotte, the way it looks. That's, what's the date today? December 17th?
Yes.
That's a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
So that kind of changed.
Well, that's also why they're having a nice run. He is being stubborn. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm putting my head down. I'm going to the basket. Good luck. I'm not taking jumpers. I'm not settling for threes. I'm going to attack, and good luck.
Oh, by the way, Zach Cohen had another good one on the picks page at vsin.com, and it was over 2.5 combined blocks. And
that's right. Stocks, great.
Stocks, right?
Yeah, he's averaging 5 stocks the last 3 games. He's 2.5 over plus money.
I bet it today as soon as I saw it. I looked at his game log. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. He's been rejecting the hell out of the basketball lately.
Right. The block on Capella, gorgeous.
Oh, that was so good.
Yes. So that's where I'm at with that one. How about the bowl game? Now it's a big movement here. Opened Memphis plus 2.5. Of course, Powers grabbed that. Now Memphis laying 6, 5.5. Interim coach with West Virginia. They had the great press conference last week. Rich Rod coming back. Never should have left. Kumbaya. And now Memphis, Hennigan, good angle from the area, wants to go out a winner. Great team. They win. A great season, rather. They win. Be ranked in the top 25. And the last time we saw them on Thanksgiving, they were dynamite, winning as a double-digit dog against Tulane. Mm-hmm. And the last time we saw West Virginia was a horror show. Blown out and gave up a 50-burger to Texas Tech. But then again, look at this movement. Memphis averages 35 a game. I don't think West Virginia's going to stop anything. But again, you get some wonky results with these interim coaches.
Oh, that you sure do. I mean,
yep.
And I bet you this bowl season we will have probably multiple examples of where people are going to have 6-7 points of closing line value. Like you said, Brad Powers grabbed 2 right away with Memphis. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's not tonight or other games that Brad's on, whatever. I'm just using him as an example here. But people are going to be, betting these numbers early. Numbers are going to move big time, and it's going to be way too much, and the underdog wins the game outright. Now, this was just maybe a very bizarre opening number anyway, because the market has been off on Memphis. They put together a hell of a season, really good offense. They were 12.5-point dogs against Tulane, and a lot of that was baked in because Tulane, with a win, people thought they could still make the playoff. Well, Memphis completely dominated that football game. They won it by 10. I don't think it was that close. And then West Virginia lost, 51-15, catching 2.5 points against Texas Tech, and they opened up as the favorite. So I bet, I was late to the party on Memphis, but I bet the money line, along with in college basketball tonight, St. Bonaventure on the money line against Siena. The Bonnies are 10-1 straight up and 9-1 ATS on the year. They're, I think, only behind Oregon State ATS because the Beavers have yet to lose a game against the spread. File that one away. But so I grabbed, and that money line parlay paid minus 108 when I bet it. And for what it's worth, a little bit of money here on Siena today because it's down to 6.5 now in this game. So I love it. I got a little action tonight in both sports here.
Yeah, all right. So we've seen a lot of movement. We got the big movement on this Memphis game. UNLV plays tomorrow. That's crazy. UNLV is now a 3-point favorite in that game. Paul Stone, more movement on the Hawaii Bowl. The San Jose State wide receiver opted out.
Now, how about that?
The timing. I mean, again, give me a heads up. It's like the Marshall thing. Just give me a note. Give me some notice. Give me a heads up. San Jose down to 3. UNLV is now laying 3 against Cal. Cal got as high as 5 last week. And then not only Mahomes was a full participant in practice, so was Hollywood Brown. Chiefs now laying 2.5 Saturday against the Texans. A lot of news today. Crazy.
When we were starting the show 2.5 hours ago, the Chiefs were as high as plus 110 in the money line. Bye. That's like minus 150 now to win the game outright.
Yep. Carr out for the year. Levis benched. Winston benched. Geno looks good. Hollywood Brown could play. Flex. Triple header. Saturday, December 28th.
Pickens, Watt, Fields did not practice today for the Steelers. 2 games next Sunday. Late. In the afternoon window. I
only recall that once. It was Christmas Eve a long time ago. If I'm, I could be wrong, but that's, and the games are not good.
Yeah. By the way, I think the total in the Chiefs game maybe still a little bit too high.
Yes. I'm with you.
Yeah, now back to 41.5. Key number of 41 there. It was 39.5 earlier when we thought Mahomes wasn't going to play. They're not exactly lighting the world on fire with the offense. We expect owner and CEO of Circa Las Vegas, Derek Stevens, to join the show in studio up next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Every single Tuesday, the owner and CEO of this tremendous property, Derek Stevens, joins the program. Of course, I'm talking about Circa Resort and Casino here in downtown Las Vegas. You're looking sharp as always. How are you?
Good. How you doing, guys?
Doing well. 50 people remain in Circa Survivor, right? Every ticket at this point, the implied value is $285,000, $285,320 now, and we have Christmas looming now. Next week, people have gotten here. There are some pretty decent games to pick this week to get to that point, right? Then what's the availability that we're talking about on Christmas Day here?
Yeah, last week we had 51 going in, and then one entry got knocked out on Thursday night in the rain game with the Niners and the Rams. And then after that, went 50 for 50 on Sunday.
Can you believe this?
It's amazing, including some serious sweats, though. Some serious sweats, but got there. And then, and then going in this week, this week, on the cover, it looks like should be an easy week, right? It should be. Could be another 50 for 50.
Yeah.
Before you run into,
So
St. Nicholas here at Christmas.
yes. So you got Green Bay, a huge favorite on Monday night. You also have Buffalo laying a big number against New England. But then do I dare trust Kirk Cousins as 45 people still have Atlanta? But that was a disaster against the Raiders. Do I trust him against the Giants? But those are your three big favorites this week. How would you play it?
Yeah, I mean, do you trust Atlanta? Again, it comes down to availability. Like you said, I mean, Baltimore, only 12 people at Baltimore, but looking at them, almost all of them are going to need them for Christmas. So I don't think you're going to see much on the Ravens this week. On Buffalo, yeah, you got 16 on Buffalo. I think that's going to be taken potentially close to the whole 16. Green Bay, maybe. Yeah, I mean, you're going to wait till Monday night. Could be. You got a nice point spread favorite there. But again, the next biggest point spread favorite is the Falcons. They were a 10-point favorite earlier today. They're down to a 9. But I agree. You couldn't feel real good after watching that game last night.
No way.
It's also the Giants we're talking about here.
It's the Giants, yeah. But something's wrong with Kirk Cousins.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So he's just not throwing. Like, he lost velo. Something's wrong.
Good call. Yeah. No
Something
velo.
is way wrong here.
If he was a starting pitcher, we'd be thinking Tommy John surgery here coming up.
I mean, there's something wrong, clearly. Yeah. I mean, he just couldn't get these outs up. I mean, he just wasn't on time. So there's something you got to be worried about. I mean, I wouldn't bet Atlanta, laying the 9.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that today. It's all been Giants money.
First blush, couple books released the numbers. What do you think? Kansas City 1 at Pittsburgh, Seattle 1.5 at Chicago, Baltimore 2 at Houston.
Yeah, Pittsburgh from that early numbers got up now. Now Pittsburgh's a 2-point favorite on Christmas.
That switched actually this afternoon with the Mahomes news.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's down to 1.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Because now they said that Mahomes was a full go today at practice.
Okay. And I had Baltimore as a 3, but you say it's 2?
Okay. Yeah. Well, there was a 3. There was a 2. There was okay. Yep.
So, what's interesting, those are Pittsburgh and Baltimore are the 2 biggest favorites on our Christmas week. And there are 12 circus survivors that do not have Pittsburgh nor Baltimore.
Is that right?
Yeah, 12 out of the 50 are going to have to take Seattle. Would they take the Bears?
Can't do it.
Do they have both of those teams available?
Yeah, there's 12. There's 12 that have neither, and I didn't go much further than that.
Seattle. If Geno Smith is healthy, am I nuts to think Seattle might be the best survivor play?
Need the game like blood. Yeah.
Could be.
But if it's Sam Howell, run for the hills.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I guess again, here we're still, you got to get through this weekend.
Yeah.
And let's see how things evolve here. The Bears, boy, this is a tough team. You could get excited about this team in the future. They got a lot of young talent. They've lost a tremendous amount of close games. Think about it for next year's win total. It's going to be a low number, but you would think regression in the mean, the number is going to go higher. Williams should be better.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
coaching staff
should
better.
be. They have to get the right coach.
Yep.
Yeah, they got to get the right coach. Absolutely.
Okay, I asked you this before we get into millions. I asked you this before we came on the air. As a Detroit guy, I have a ticket on the Lions to win the Super Bowl at 12-1. I'm offered a cash out right now, 2 times my original bet. What would you do?
So 2 times so that would put the Lions at 4-1 then, effectively.
Yeah, pretty much right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to think about it. I mean, what's happened today? I've been sitting at my desk. I've been watching the bet ticker across the land. They've been doing it in Illinois. They've been doing it in Kentucky. They've certainly been doing it here, both on property and our Nevada app. The most popular play of the day is, will the Detroit Lions win the NFC North? No. Will they win the NFC? No. Will they win the Super Bowl? No. Oh. It's been all no bets. But, I mean, you lose four more players yesterday, or on Sunday, I should say. I mean, at some point, Dan Campbell's given this unbelievable speech like this morning, next man up.
It was good.
We owe this to all the other guys that got us to the 12 wins. We owe it. But you're running out of juice here.
Well, pretty soon he's going to have to go play linebacker.
It's tough when he said, if we win by 1 point, we only have 50 yards of offense, we win by 1 point. Well, what's he going to do? Become more aggressive? I mean,
is that even possible?
I don't know.
I might be.
I don't know.
More onside kicks.
I mean, do you recollect the team? You're invested because you're invested in this. Do you recollect the team that's lost this many impact players like the Lions have in the last 6 weeks
from a Super Bowl favorite?
Yeah,
never. I can't imagine this has ever happened.
I mean, it's offense, defense. It's unbelievable.
It sucks, man.
So the Vikings take back here last week was over $7, I think, to win the division. And now the Lions are down to minus $3 in the no plus 240. That's on the division. Was it last week that minus 150 NFC? Or was it 2 weeks ago? It was
minus 150 and minus 147 back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back, okay.
So we're up to minus 300 now on the no? Yeah, I mean, we took a $20-some thousand bet. We took a 10,000. There's been 10s and 20s all day long on the no. Everything no on the Lions. I'm just telling you what.
Sure,
but I think it's all the stories you've been talking about is why. Like,
you're going to the game this Sunday, by the way, at Soldier Field.
Yes.
Are you confident that the Lions go there and win the game outright?
They've lost so many players. Is this really the same Lions team as 8 weeks ago? No, I'm begging for a victory. Mm-hmm. Then I'm begging for a victory on Christmas up at San Francisco to get them 14 wins. And then if that happens, then let's see what happens, in the game that means the whole thing is Lions-Vikings.
Boy, do they need that bye week.
Got to have it.
To get guys back potentially.
Yep. You got the good news. Hutchinson can come back. Super Bowl. I thought it was going to be NFC title game, but that's Super Bowl. How about the millions? Jump around. This is tough. What a perilous trade. Jump around, who was the leader, goes 3-2, but drops. Yeah,
Jump around is now tied in third place with a record of 53-22. Third, Team BP jumped up to number 1, 53-20-2. So 54 points. Then there's someone with 53.5 points. That's victory formation. Jump around has 53 points. So they're all split by half a point. And then there's a big drop off to 51.5. And there's a total of 2 teams tied at that level. So we're getting a little separation here on the booby prize. Meatballs have come back and they were just terrible. So they're 23-52 now. So they're alone in first place overall on the booby. But that's tightly bunched up. When you go to the fourth quarter, so now we're 10 games in. There are a total of six that are 0-10 going in. Billy C., who seems to be all over the place, at the top, at the bottom, every quarter. Billy C. is a very volatile guy, and we still haven't figured out that question. Bill 80 said, "Is that our Billy from a couple years ago?" I don't know. Dr. Allen, he's 0-10. We got the obscene money popped up for the first time. Obscene money's 0-10. So. We wish them all the worst of luck. And then, on the good side, we got Will Money 2. The only contestant that is 10-0 is Will Money 2.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's only one that's 10-0, but there's 6 that are 0-10.
Wow.
Kind of funny to see that.
That has to be the first time this quarterly, of any quarterly, for a guy to start on his own at 10-0. Every time it's been multiple, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen that before. Controls his own destiny.
Yeah.
What do you expect Friday night, our first playoff game?
Oh boy, we expect a massive amount of handle. The interest level's huge. A lot of last minute bookings for the hotel. A lot of people trying to figure out what their Christmas plans are. But I think for the first time ever, the weekend before Christmas is going to be busy in Vegas. So we expect to have massive handle.
Yeah, I bet. Good to see you again. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks a lot.
There you go. Derek Stevens, owner, CEO of Circa Resort and Casino here in downtown Las Vegas. We will recap our best bets from last night and tell you what we're betting tonight in Pocket Plays next here on VSiN.
has an algorithm to determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3 to 1 odds. Nope. 5 to 1. Nope. 10 to 1. You're up.
All right, split. Both teams to make a 33-yard field goal in the Raider game winner, and Addison longest reception over was a loser. I'll tell you now, Koo missed another one.
Yes, absolutely.
That guy's a liability.
Another reason he was so good, halfway through the season, and then something happened, turned on a dime. That's another reason to doubt them, by the way.
No doubt. Tennessee plus 7.5 on Saturday night. Pat Forty is going to the game. He'll be on the show Friday from Yahoo and Sports Illustrated. Notre Dame, Indiana under. Army, that's all. Cal Lane 4 against UNLV. This is flipped. This is good. Yeah, this is tomorrow.
Well, the perils of betting bowl games.
UNLV is now 3. Mm-hmm. This game has been all over the place. Florida Lane 12, that's moved in our direction. Up to 14 against Tulane. That's that's Friday. Tampa Lane 4 against the Cowboys. Going to ride the Tampa train and take them again Sunday night. Georgia Southern Lane 6 against Sam Houston on Thursday. A ton of guys in the portal for Sam Houston. The coach left to take the Temple job. Tonight, NBA Cup under. 5-0 under run with all the games in Las Vegas. Go under tonight. And I like the stocks angle, too, with Zach Cohen, with Giannis over 2.5 blocks and steals plus money. He's averaging 5 going back. And it's moved. Chiefs Lane 2.5 against the Texans. Mahomes is going to play, in my opinion, and Hollywood Brown could play. And I don't like this Texans team at all. That is Saturday. Good luck.
All right, couple of winners last night. TJ Hawkinson over 41.5. That got there. Kyle Pitts, every half a yard matters with player props. Betted over 27.5. Talked about it on the show. Put it up on the picks page early on in the morning. It was still around that number when we were on the air at some spots. Laid 20 cents. He had 28 yards. And that moved to, I think, 33.5. So fortunate with that. Trust me. Pending Christmas Day, Spurs Knicks over 225.5. I make that number in the 230s. Mm-hmm. Tennessee plus 7.5 at Ohio State, first round of the playoffs. And going to do a cross-sport parlay tonight. Got Memphis in the bowl game. The number got away from me. Up to 5.5 or 6. I totally agree with this team. They should have been favored to begin with. Now, will it matter tonight? Let's hope so. And then St. Bonaventure on the money line as well against Siena and College Hoops. The Bonnies are off to a tremendous start this year. They are 10-1 overall, and they only have, one loss? I think I said ATS. Yeah, 9-1 ATS on the year. So we'll trust the Bonnies here to get it done. 2-team money line parlay minus 108.
All right, very good. Celtics up to 9, by the way, against the Sixers on Christmas. Embiid likely out.
They're going to run out of time at some point, even though the Eastern Conference is dreadful. And it is official, by the way. Middleton ruled out for the game tonight.
Okay. God, the news today. Nuts. Bowl games, line movement, NFL news, look-ahead lines, a big flex in the NFL. And how about what happened with Raheem Morris now?
Okay.
Was asked to name a starting quarterback. He would not commit to Cousins.
He declined.
Okay. It's right there. You could tell a little bit last night about how we've got to get better at that position. He keeps saying the same thing. I mean, I'm not there. But not good what we heard yesterday from Orlando Ledbetter. How much time are they giving Penix?
Sure.
That's the thing. If he's been getting reps and he's, okay, just put him in. Let's go. Because you can't be any worse than Cousins. But if the guy's not even getting any reps and it's a rookie, but to me, it's a no-brainer. Anything's better than Cousins right now.
Morris also said that they returned, obviously, late last night from Vegas. They are still in the evaluation process. Again, you could just see it on Cousins' face. After the game, when they brought him over to do the post-game interview, he didn't want to talk.
No, that was a weird choice.
I'll tell you this right now.
For 100 yards. What do I got to say?
If you could give that dude, a couple of drinks and ask him a couple of questions or, truth serum, whatever, I think that he would admit, I don't even want to be playing right now. I shouldn't be out there on the field.
I'm hurting the team.
I absolutely. I think that he would acknowledge that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a big year. They have a lot of talent, and he's letting them down.
It has not, Paul. Those throws they had no business blowing the game against the Chargers.
No.
The Bolts did nothing in that game offensively. Cousins gave him the game. The pick six was as bad as it gets. And then I could actually make the argument that the lob pass into the end zone into quadruple coverage was worse. It had nothing on, no mustard on the ball whatsoever. Barely got it into the end zone. And it hasn't gotten any better. And you pointed this out multiple times on the show today. This is not a success in the NFL in 2024. They ran the ball on first down 11 different times last night. And I said earlier, like if the Raiders defense would have been a little bit less in terms of overall resistance last night, I think the Falcons would have ran the ball every single play if they could have. And they would have said, we're okay, Kirk, just go out there and hand the ball off. And that way, people can question whether or not you're healthy, but we're not going to make it look like you're not healthy by playing the entire game out there and throwing the ball once in a while. The pass to London for a touchdown, the guy, he ran a great route and he was wide open. So there was nothing special about that whatsoever. And other than that, he did nothing in the game. I don't know. They really, there's got to be like a 30 for 30 done on the Falcons this year. Why'd you take Penix 8th overall?
Yeah.
Why? I want to know the story behind that. I think there's something juicy behind that. And then he plays one preseason game. Shut him down. We've seen enough. But you don't want to go back to the guy? You don't want to give him the game plan right now, even though Kirk can't play? Okay.
I want to tell the story, but it's a guy we trust telling us the story from a guy that he trusts about why they took Penix. Yeah. And the reason is high comedy. But, oh, God. How about this Chris Felica tweet? This really puts it in perspective. To win the national title, Penn State will likely have to beat as many top 10 teams in the corners, semis, and championship game consecutively, 3, as it has won in the previous 11 years combined. 3-19 against top 10 teams since 2014. And 2 more than it has won in the last 8 years combined. They're 1-14 against top 10 teams since 2017. A combination of perspective, yet also a great opportunity for Penn State to finally bust the narrative on the biggest stage possible. Oh.
Are you going to take SMU if we get good weather? Or do you want to take...
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to get good weather.
Is the better angle with good weather, is the better angle the over?
Yeah, I think so. SMU's playing with house money. They're not supposed to be here. All the pressure's on Penn State. You're at home. Franklin can't win a big game. Yeah. SMU, wow, we leveled up. We went from the AAC to the ACC, and here we are. Come on, loose. They had their moment where the stage was too big. They already had that. And they settled down, and they could almost rally from a 17-point deficit. I think Lashley's a great coach, and I think that the pressure's on Penn State. I would think there'd be a ton of points if the weather cooperates, although it appears this is the one game where the weather is going to be an issue.
Well, okay, so that's the, noon game Eastern?
That's the early game.
That's the early game,
That's
right?
the early game Saturday.
Okay,
yeah.
So right now I'm showing 28 degrees for a high, 18 for a low, and 0% chance of precipitation.
Okay. Well, that's tough from the kids from Dallas. That's not ideal. But I think we could...
It's only cold, though.
Points.
They can still go out there.
Okay, yeah. That's wild, though. Yeah. That's an incredible tweet.
Good tweet here from Matthew. Don't forget, the Falcons were also going toe-to-toe with the Vikings for the first half of that game, and then Cousins fell apart, and they got blown out a couple of weeks ago. That's right. They were right there with them early on in that game, and they lost by, 3 touchdowns overall?
Yeah, they were moving the ball. The defense was just getting lost on deep balls. That's Darnold killed them at 5 touchdowns.
I will say this, but last couple of weeks, defense, overall pretty good.
Not bad. The Charger, they had it. It was right there for them. Once they swept Tampa, they were such a huge favorite to win the division. Then they came out, I think it was after the bye, I could be wrong. They had that listless performance against the Saints. How they lost that game. They kept turning the ball over, and I think Koo missed 3 field goals.
That's the game.
And then they blew the Charger game. When he had all the interceptions, the Chargers did nothing. I think they sacked Herbert a bunch of times, and the pick 6 killed him.
Yeah.
And he threw another interception in the end zone.
Right, yeah.
Those are the 2 games right there. All right, coming up, VSiN primetime, Von Tobel and Humans, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Joe Serralo cashing out 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., and then the morning line with Grace and Harrison, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. coming up. Fun day, a lot of news. Wouldn't stop. Look at this today. Levis benched, Winston benched, Mahomes likely to play. Big move on the Chiefs. Carr out for the year. Geno looks good. Hollywood Brown could play. Triple header Saturday, week 17, flex. Washington, Atlanta, the Sunday night game. Cleveland, Miami, out. And then the look headlines.
Well, I mean,
The Christmas Day numbers, too.
it's only Tuesday, Paul. I'm pretty confident that Mahomes is going to play.
Yep, he's playing.
After he practiced today,
Yep.
and now the betting market, I mean, Houston was 3 Sunday night, and now the Chiefs are 2.5.
Well, the big thing was the comment. This is a different ballgame than when Jacksonville in the playoffs.
Yep. He said he's, quote, better, quicker than that game against Jacksonville.
Yep.
So he's playing. All right, that's it for us. Good luck with your bets tonight.